My name is Amara, and what I'm about to tell you is the story of how I became a witch. I never asked for these powers. I never prayed for them. But they found me, the night everything changed in Iziola village. It all began when I was just 7 years old. That night, the moon was red like palm oil poured on white sand. I was sleeping on the mat beside my mother when I heard a voice call my name. Amara. I woke up and looked around. There was no one there. My mother was fast asleep, but the voice came again, louder this time, and I felt a cold wind enter our hut even though the door was locked. I covered my face with my wrapper and began to cry. When I opened my eyes, I saw something that made my heart jump, a woman with white eyes standing beside the fire pot, wearing black cloth and long beads on her neck. I screamed, "Mama! Mama!" But my mother didn't wake up. It was as if she couldn't hear me. The strange woman said softly, "Don't be afraid, Amara. You have been chosen." Then she stretched out her hand, and before I could move, she touched my forehead with her cold finger. I fainted instantly. When I woke up, it was morning. My mother told me I had been shaking all night and muttering strange words in my sleep. From that day, everything changed. I began to see things others couldn't. Sometimes I saw shadows following people. Sometimes I heard drums beating from empty air. I tried to tell my mother, but she said, "Amara, stop saying such things. You will attract evil spirits." But I couldn't stop seeing them. I couldn't stop hearing them. That was when I decided to tell Auntie Nenna, my mother's elder sister who lived near the river. People said she knew herbs and secrets of the old ways. Maybe she would help me. Little did I know, my decision to visit her would open a door I could never close again. The next morning, I left home quietly with my small basket. My mother thought I was going to fetch firewood, but my heart was set on seeing Auntie Nenna. The path to her house was long and lonely. Tall palm trees lined the dusty road, and the sound of the river echoed like a song calling my name. When I reached her compound, I met her sitting outside, crushing herbs with a stone. She looked up slowly and said, "Amara, I have been expecting you." My heart skipped. "How did you know I was coming?" I asked. She smiled strangely and said, "The spirits told me last night." Before I could speak again, she stood up and held my hand. Her palm was cold, too cold for the warm morning sun. She led me into her hut. The smell of strange herbs filled the air. Calabashes, cowries, feathers, and red cloths hung on the wall. "Sit down," she said softly. "Tell me what you have been seeing." I told her everything, about the voice, the woman with white eyes, and how I could see shadows following people. She listened quietly, nodding. Then she said, "You have a gift, Amara. But you must learn to control it before it controls you." I asked, "Auntie, what do you mean?" She looked into my eyes and whispered, "Tonight, I will take you to the river. There, you will meet her." I didn't understand. "Meet who?" I asked. But Auntie Nenna didn't answer. She just smiled and began to tie a red thread around my wrist. "This will protect you from what you are about to see," she said. That night, the moon was bright again. We walked through the bush path, our lantern swinging. The air was cold, and I could hear frogs croaking from afar. When we reached the riverbank, Auntie Nenna told me to kneel down. She began to chant softly in a language I didn't know. Suddenly, the river started bubbling like boiling water. A woman rose slowly from the water, tall, shiny, and beautiful, wearing blue beads around her waist. Her eyes sparkled like glass. She smiled at me and said, "Amara, my daughter. I have waited for you." I froze in fear. Auntie Nenna bowed to the woman and said, "Great one, here is the child you spoke of." The woman stretched her hand toward me. I tried to move, but my body refused. The wind around us began to swirl, and my heart pounded loudly. What does she want from me? I shouted. Auntie Nenna whispered, "Do not fight it. Your destiny has begun." And just then, if you're still watching this story, take a deep breath. What would you do if this was you? Comment to God forbid, and subscribe now, because what happens next will shock you. The river woman's hand touched my forehead. I felt a cold fire run through my body. My eyes turned white for a moment, and I saw flashes of strange lights, spirits dancing around the water, whispering my name. Then suddenly, everything went silent. The woman looked deep into my eyes and said, "From this day, Amara, you will see what others cannot. You belong to the river. Use your gift wisely, or it will destroy you." Before I could reply, she disappeared back into the water, and the river became calm again. I turned to Auntie Nenna. "What just happened to me?" I asked, my voice shaking. She smiled faintly. "You have been chosen, my dear. The river has marked you." I looked at my hands. There was a small, glowing mark on my palm shaped like a crescent moon. I tried to rub it off, but it wouldn't go away. That night, when I returned home, my mother looked at me and gasped. "Amara, what is on your hand?" she cried. I hid it behind my back. "It's nothing, Mama." But that was the beginning of everything. From that day, I began to dream strange dreams. I saw people I had never met calling my name. I saw snakes turning into humans and humans turning into birds. Sometimes, when I closed my eyes, I saw things before they happened. One day, I told my friend Chidima that our teacher would fall sick before the next morning. She laughed and said, "Stop saying nonsense, Amara." But the next day, our teacher didn't come to class. He was seriously sick. From then, everyone in school began to fear me. They whispered behind my back, calling me Amara the witch. At home, my mother noticed that water pots in our compound began to break on their own. At night, we heard footsteps outside even when no one was there. Mama called Auntie Nenna and shouted, "What have you done to my daughter?" But Auntie Nenna only said, "It is her destiny. You cannot change what the river has written." That night, I cried myself to sleep. I didn't ask for any of this. I just wanted to be normal, to play, laugh, and live like other girls. But each time I tried to forget the river, the mark on my palm glowed softly in the dark, reminding me that my life would never be the same again. Days passed, but the strange things around me only grew stronger. Sometimes I would wake up in the middle of the night to hear drums beating near the river, even though the village was silent. Sometimes, I would hear someone whispering my name, not from outside, but from inside my room. One night, I couldn't sleep. The moonlight entered through the small window, painting the floor silver. Then, I heard footsteps outside. Soft, slow, steady. I called, "Mama, is that you?" No answer. I slowly stood up and opened the door, and there she was. A beautiful woman dressed in white, her hair covered with cowries, standing just outside the compound. Her skin glowed like water under the moon. I wanted to scream, but she raised her hand gently and said, "Do not fear, Amara. I am not your enemy." I froze. "Who are you?" I asked in a trembling voice. "I am your guide," she said softly. "The river sent me. You must learn to understand what you carry before others destroy you for it." She reached out and touched my shoulder, and suddenly my eyes opened wider. I saw things I couldn't explain, tiny spirits floating in the air, whispering, dancing, laughing. The woman continued, "Your gift is not evil, child. But power is like fire. If you play with it, it burns you. If you respect it, it gives you light." Then, before my eyes, she began to fade away like smoke. I cried, "Wait. Don't go. Teach me how to stop it." Her voice echoed as she disappeared. "When the moon turns red again, return to the river. There, your path will be revealed." I stood there shaking, my heart pounding like a drum. The next morning, I told my mother what I saw. Her face turned pale. "Amara, you must never go near that river again," she warned. "Do you hear me? Never." But deep inside me, something kept calling. Every time I passed near the river, I felt the mark on my palm burn gently, as if reminding me of a promise. That night, I sat alone outside our hut. The stars were bright, and the air smelled of rain. I looked at the moon, and I noticed something terrifying. It had started to change color. The moon was slowly turning red again. That night, I could not sleep. The red moon hung above the sky like a bleeding eye, watching everything below. My heart beat fast. I knew what the spirit woman said: when the moon turns red again, return to the river. I tried to resist, but the mark on my palm began to glow again, brighter than before. It felt hot, like fire under my skin. I stood up quietly and stepped outside. The wind was strange, cold but whispering my name. "Amara. Amara." I wrapped a small wrapper around my body and followed the path toward the river. The night birds cried. The frogs croaked louder than ever. The closer I got, the stronger the glow on my hand became. When I reached the riverbank, the water was moving in circles even though there was no wind. Then I saw her again, the river woman, this time wearing blue and gold beads. "Welcome back, my daughter," she said. "You have obeyed the call. Tonight, your true power will awaken." Before I could speak, she lifted a small calabash from the river. It was filled with black liquid that shone like oil. "Drink this," she said. "It will open your spirit eyes forever." I shook my head. "No, I don't want to. I just want to be normal again." Her face changed. Her voice grew deeper. "You cannot run from who you are, Amara. The river chose you before you were born." The wind around us began to swirl. The trees shook. The river rose higher. I screamed, "Please, stop," but my voice was drowned by thunder. Suddenly, the calabash flew from her hand and hovered in front of me. The liquid inside began to rise on its own. It moved toward me like smoke and entered through my nose and mouth. I fell to the ground and began to shake. My eyes rolled back. I saw flashes of people I had never met, voices calling from far away. I saw the same woman from my first vision, the one with white eyes, standing in fire, smiling. Then everything went dark. When I woke up, it was morning. I was lying by the riverbank, my body wet and weak. Birds were chirping, but something felt different. I looked at my reflection in the water, and gasped. My eyes were no longer brown. They had turned pale gray. And the mark on my palm now glowed even in daylight. When I returned home that morning, the whole compound felt different. Birds that used to perch on our roof flew away when I entered. Even our dog, Igbo, barked and hid behind the kitchen. My mother came out holding a broom. When she saw me, she froze. Her eyes widened. "Amara," she whispered, "what happened to your eyes?" I looked down quickly, covering my face. "Nothing, Mama," I said, but she grabbed my chin and lifted my face. The moment she saw my gray eyes, she screamed and dropped the broom. "Yezu, what have you become?" I tried to explain. "Mama, I didn't do anything." "The river woman." "Stop," she shouted. "Don't mention that river again in this house." Tears filled my eyes. "But Mama, I didn't ask for this." She turned away, trembling. "You need prayers, my daughter. I will call Pastor Is. Only the power of God can help you now." That evening, Pastor Is came. He was a tall, strong man with a Bible that looked older than me. He prayed, shouted, and poured anointing oil on me. But instead of feeling better, I began to shake violently. He shouted, "Evil spirit, who are you?" A deep voice came out of me, but it wasn't mine. "She belongs to the river." You cannot take her. My mother screamed and fell to her knees. The oil lamp flickered and went out. Pastor Is began to sweat. He opened his Bible again and shouted louder. But the voice laughed. You fight the river, yet you drink from it every day. The windows banged shut. The wind howled. Pots in the corner fell and broke. Then suddenly, everything went silent. When I opened my eyes, the room was in ruins. Pastor Is had fainted. My mother was crying in the corner. That night, no one in our house slept. Every time the wind blew, it whispered my name, Amara. The next morning, villagers started talking. They said my mother was hiding a witch in her house. Children ran when they saw me. Even my friend Chidima crossed the road to avoid me. I sat under the mango tree, staring at my hands. The mark on my palm paused softly, as if it had a heartbeat of its own. I whispered, "Why me?" And from somewhere far away, a voice answered, soft, but clear, "Because you were never meant to be ordinary." 3 days passed. Our house had become quiet, too quiet. No one came to visit us anymore. My mother no longer talked to the neighbors. She spent her days praying and crying. As for me, I stayed mostly indoors, afraid of what people might say or do. But strange things continued to happen. Pots still broke by themselves. Shadows still walked behind me when no one was there. One evening, as the sun was setting, I heard a knock on the door. My mother hesitated. Who could that be at this time? She whispered. When she opened the door, a tall man dressed in white stood there. His beard was long and gray, and his eyes shone like stars. He smiled gently. "Peace be upon this house," he said. My mother frowned. "Who are you?" He looked past her and said, "I am here for Amara." I felt my heart jump. "For me? How do you know my name?" I asked. He stepped forward and said softly, "Because I knew you before you were born." My mother quickly blocked the door. "You can't take my daughter anywhere," she shouted. The man raised his hand calmly. "I am not here to harm her. I am Obidike, guardian of the river's balance. I was sent when the signs appeared, the red moon, the mark, the voice." I looked at him closely. There was something familiar about his face, as if I had seen him in my dreams. "Amara," he said, "your gift was never meant to bring destruction. It was meant to protect. But the power within you has been corrupted. You must learn to control it before it consumes everything you love." My mother began to cry. "Please, just make her normal again. I want my daughter back." He shook his head slowly. "Some destinies cannot be erased, only guided." Then he looked at me. "Tomorrow night, come to the old shrine near the forest. There, I will show you the truth about who you really are." Before we could say anything, a strong breeze blew through the room. When it stopped, the man was gone. Only his footprints remained on the floor, glowing faintly in the dim light. My mother grabbed my hand, trembling. "You must not go near that man, Amara. He is one of them." But deep inside, something told me otherwise. His voice still echoed in my head. "You must learn to control it before it consumes everything you love." That night, as I lay awake staring at the ceiling, I knew one thing for sure: tomorrow, I would go to the shrine. No matter what waited for me there. The following night, I waited until my mother was fast asleep. The moon was high, bright, and silent. The cricket sang softly as I tied my wrapper tightly and stepped outside. My heart pounded with every step. The path to the old shrine was narrow and dark. It was said that no one had gone there for years. The villagers believed it was cursed, a place where spirits met when humans slept. But I didn't turn back. I followed the trail through the tall grass until I saw it, a small hut made of red clay, covered in vines, with carvings of strange faces on the walls. A faint light glowed from inside. I stepped closer, trembling. "Hello," Is anyone there? I called softly. Then I heard his voice, Obidike's voice. Come in, Amara. I have been waiting for you. I pushed the curtain aside and entered. The air was heavy with the smell of incense. Calabashes, bones, and feathers hung from the ceiling. Obidike stood in the center, holding a staff made from carved wood and decorated with white beads. You kept your word, he said with a smile. I nodded nervously. You said you'd tell me the truth. He pointed to a small stool. Sit. When I sat down, he began to draw symbols on the ground with white chalk. Then he poured a little water on them and said, Tonight, you will see what was hidden from you. The air in the room changed. The floor began to shake. I saw smoke rise from the ground, forming shapes of people. My eyes widened, it was like watching a dream while awake. Then I saw a young woman standing beside a river, holding a baby. Her face looked familiar. Obidike said softly, That woman is your mother, not the one who raised you, but the one who gave birth to you. I gasped. My real mother. He nodded. She was a servant of the river goddess. When she gave birth to you, she hid you from the goddess's eyes because she feared what you would become. Tears filled my eyes. So, my powers, they came from her. Yes, he said. You are the daughter of the water. Your blood is tied to both the living and the unseen. I felt weak. Then who is the woman who raised me? Obidike looked away. She found you near the river when you were still a baby. She loved you like her own. But destiny cannot be hidden forever. The firelight flickered, and I heard whispers, soft voices calling my name again and again. Oma, Are. Oma, Are. The symbols on the floor began to glow, and Obidike stepped back. They have found you, he whispered. The light grew brighter and brighter until I could no longer see anything but white. When the light finally faded, I found myself standing in a strange place, half land, half water. The sky was silver, and the air smelled like rain. I looked around, confused. There were people there, or rather, spirits, dressed in white, moving slowly as if floating. In the middle of them stood the river woman, the same one who had touched my forehead long ago. Welcome home, Amara, she said softly. Her voice echoed like water running over stones. I stepped back. Home. This isn't my home. I want to go back to my mother. She smiled sadly. The woman you call mother loves you dearly, but she cannot protect you anymore. Your power belongs here. You were born between worlds, and one day, both will need you. Tears filled my eyes. I didn't ask for this. I never wanted to be different. She reached out her hand. If you accept me, you will have peace, power, and the strength to protect your people. But if you refuse me, your gift will turn against you. The ground began to shake again. I heard Obidike's voice in the wind, Choose wisely, Amara. Whatever you choose will shape your destiny forever. I fell to my knees, crying. Why me? Why must I choose? Suddenly, I saw my mother's face appear in the sky. She was crying, calling my name. Amara, my child, come back to me. Please. Her voice was filled with love and pain. I looked at the river woman, her eyes glowed like stars. Two words pulled me apart, the word of love, and the word of power. I stood up slowly and whispered, I will not be your servant, and I will not be your enemy. I will walk between both worlds. The river woman stared at me in silence. Then she smiled faintly. Then you have chosen your true path. Go, daughter of both realms. The world will one day call your name. She touched my head gently, and everything turned dark. When I opened my eyes, I was lying at the riverbank. Obidike was standing beside me. You did it, he said quietly. You have balanced the two worlds. I looked at my hands, the glowing mark was gone. For the first time in months, I felt peace. He helped me stand, and we began walking back to the village as the first light of dawn broke through the trees. As we walked, I whispered, "So, what happens now?" Obidike smiled. "Now, your story begins. If this story touched your heart, remember this: every destiny carries light and shadow, and we all have the power to choose what we become." Type, "I choose wisdom over power," in the comments if you believe Amara's story should be heard by the world. Subscribe so you don't miss the next African tale that will open your eyes to the unseen. Because in Africa, every river still whispers. And every whisper carries a story.